Assalamu alaikum, guys. Welcome back to the Shady Youth Podcast. I hope you guys are not sick of me yet because this is like episode 18, 19, 20. I don't even know like how I'm numbering this anymore, but I really hope you guys are enjoying this revamp that we're doing. Today, we have an amazing guest. We have Brother Mohamed Bahe, a local of New York, someone that if you're into any community work at all, you've probably heard this name before. Organizations like Muslims Giving Back, Asiyah Women Center, Mercy Bakery. He's had a hand to play in every single one of these. And so I'm just here to sit down with him today, kind of pick his brain a bit and really get to know the guy. And alongside me today, I have a kind of sidekick. We have Brother Hilal. You've seen him in a couple episodes before, and I hope you're not sick of him either because he's gonna, keep coming back. Not. So yeah, inshallah, that's how it's gonna be for today's episode. And we're live. Assalamu alaikum, guys. How are you?
Walaikum assalam.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Brother Muhammad, where are you coming from today?
So I pretty much drove up to Long Island, like around Belmore area, just to visit a family, pretty much for our next project, Project Transform, which, to me, it's one of my favorite projects that I ever got involved with or love to be part of, because it's very direct, very personal, very effective. You see change with your own eyes, right? Everything is out there in front of you. It's transparent. Yeah. So I pretty much just visited this family. It's like two single mothers, with three, little young girls living there. There's like an 11-month-old infant. There's like a 1-year-old baby and another 3-year-old baby and an older lady. She's like 7 years old. All living in a basement. Horrible condition. One of the mothers with her infant is like sleeping on the floor. I was like, oh man. So for me, it's in Long Island, where I usually think, mashallah, people got big homes and
right.
fancy men.
Yeah.
For me to go behind the house, go down in the basement like a dungeon, and see these sisters living in that condition, yeah, it's depressing, and it always reminds me we got a lot of work to do in our community.
Right. Alhamdulillah. And that's something I always see from you and your organization, Muslims Giving Back. You really take it to a local level where I think we really forget about our own communities a lot. We focus on countries like Palestine, Yemen, Syria. Of course, those countries need to be helped, and we should raise money and funds and go out and try to help them. But along the way, we kind of forget our own brothers and sisters that are literally right next door or maybe in the same neighborhood as us. So, mashallah, I really love the work you guys do. And just today, I was scrolling through Facebook and you posted an update video of one of the projects you guys were doing with, I believe it was another single mother family, right?
Yeah, it's like the third one this month. Yeah, the last one we did, it was a single. The one with the little girl, she saw her room. The unicorns and stuff. Yeah.
Right, subhanAllah.
What's crazy is that the work you do, subhanAllah, I really appreciate, because as Shakil mentioned, of course, it's local level, but it's very on the ground. Like, you're helping like individual families directly. It's not just, hey, we're just going to raise money for this group of people and inshallah we're going to help them. But these are actual physical people that you interact with, you meet with, and you can see the situation they're in. And when you benefit them, it's like direct effects. For inshallah, that's something that's, subhanAllah, it's amazing to see from the outside, from us seeing all the work you guys are doing. And, inshallah, I'm sure for you and, the organization as a whole, it's also very rewarding for you guys. May Allah place
Well, to be honest, it's really a collective issue, right? Don't be fooled thinking it's always one person behind the show.
Right.
Maybe my face is always splattered on social media and stuff, but trust me, there's a whole team, a whole network of people. And because what I do is pretty much the easy part, right? I get to go there, investigate, see if the family is legit, formulate a plan, put it out there. But if the community is not responding, if people are not responding or donating, there's no work to be done. It's not like everything's coming out of my personal pockets. Then for sure, I'll pat myself on the back and be like, yeah, I feel good about myself. But I'm not the one, that's donating. So technically, it's the people that are really giving are the ones that are going to get, inshallah, most of the rewards. But just to touch up something what you said, Shaquille, that about helping people from other countries and stuff. No doubt about it. That's an obligation upon us, upon our community, right, to help our brothers everywhere, Pakistan, Palestine, Kashmir, Afghanistan, Syria, you name it. But for me, it's so it's so crazy and dangerous that when we know we have families in our communities, we have widows in our communities, right? We have sometimes orphans in our communities.
Mm-hmm.
We have families like literally living in the streets, right? Living outside, living in shelters, living, sleeping on the floor, no food in the fridge. Like all of these people are literally amongst us. Like we could go there and touch them, like physically,
Yeah.
right? Well, to ignore these people who are local and send everything back home, like this is crazy. It's not even what zakat's supposed to be. Islamically, zakat's supposed to start locally within your community, right? When there's nobody there, start
Mm-hmm.
looking outside and then keep going till it finds its recipients. So like this mentality that we have today that, oh, there's no people in America, there's no poor people in America, there's no poor people in New York City, it's only back home, they need it the most. It's just madness. Like, wallahi adim, but some people are living in a bubble because I wish I could take them to some of these families and be like, go ahead, you want to see some families that supposedly don't exist in our communities?
Mm.
Come. That's why we like to show everything. We like to show photos. We like to show videos because it's so dangerous that we're neglecting people in our community while trying to help
Mm.
others in different communities or across the sea, across the borders. It just makes no sense, bro. Like, imagine like your neighbor next door is hungry, starving,
Yeah.
and you're like, I
Yeah.
gotta feed the poor, I gotta
Mm-hmm.
feed the hungry. Let me send my money to Africa. I'm like, bro, like, what's your obligation, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is gonna question you on your ability uh, to, like, for example, there's a beautiful hadith Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that when you see an evil, you should change it with your hands. If you can't, you should speak up against it. And
Mm-hmm.
if you can't do that, you should hate it with your heart.
Yeah.
So we're seeing all these evils exist in our communities, right? Hunger, poverty, domestic violence, abuse, right? And we're like
Mm.
ignoring them. Like we have the ability to physically change it, physically have an impact, but we refuse to do so and just completely skipping it and just try to do the easy thing and just just swipe a credit card and just like donate $100 to somewhere, to some other country. And so like for me it's very frustrating, and I guess we'll talk more about that later on, why I'm the way I am.
Mhm.
Because it's just it's like suicide. It's like
Yeah.
bro, we're drowning, our community is in shambles, and here we are sending millions of dollars overseas while neglecting our own home. It just makes no
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that, and that's why I think a lot of people have built up that trust for Muslims giving back and the other organizations you're part
Mm.
of. And mashallah, you're right in the sense that a lot of the time we give credit to just one person, and whereas there's always a team, a whole community backing that image that you see on social media. And mashallah,
Yeah.
I always see the videos you post. There's like a ton of brothers helping out,
Mhm.
during quarantine with feeding the homeless every single
Yeah.
night. I believe there was like a whole team of brothers, and a lot of the time you kind of just hit up Facebook like, hey, anyone want to help out tonight? Like just pull up. And
Mhm.
like that's amazing, just giving them the opportunity, just like random strangers like on your network, you're kind of just giving them the opportunity to help out and get that hasanat.
Yeah. I think one other thing, what you were mentioning, Brother Muhammad, it reminded me of the hadith when I don't, I'm forgetting the exact words, but when the Prophet ﷺ used to preach, helping out your neighbors, focusing on them first. Companions would ask him, like, who should I help out first, amongst our neighbors? And he would say the ones that's closest to you first. So meaning your extreme next door neighbors, and then the one after that, then the one after that, the one after that. Like basically going to show that our first and foremost duty are to those closest to us. So as you were mentioning, the you know the situation of people in our own communities, even our direct neighbors, are going through so much, but we don't see it. I think partly due to how the media portrays that, oh, it's only in these third world countries that need us, and these are the only places that are suffering. But we don't see the atrocities going on in our own communities.
Of
So yeah,
course.
that was just something that really struck me and came to my mind.
No, no, absolutely. And like for example, tomorrow we're doing a project for Syrian refugees. There's a whole huge community. I mean, hundreds of families that live in Elizabeth, New Jersey, which is like 45-minute drive, literally from where you live. Hundreds of families are there, and these are families that came, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago because of the war in Syria. And so for me, it's just crazy that we're talking about let's help refugees, let's help refugees. We're sending millions there, right? But when these families come here in our turf, in our backyards, zero support.
Hmm.
And many of them
Wow.
say that. They were like, what the hell's the point? Like, why are we sending money? Like, I'm not saying let's not send it. For sure we should. But does it make sense that we're saying we want to help refugees in Syria, but when they come here and become our neighbors, we're just like, not even like looking at them. It's like,
Wow.
what is
Yeah.
this?
That's
What is
so
this
true.
madness?
I didn't
It's
even
so
think about that.
illogical. It makes
Wow.
no sense. It makes no sense. It's like me saying, oh, I love helping out single mothers. You know, I love helping them out. I love giving back to them and doing charity, but I neglect my own wife and
Yeah.
my own kids.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that's what we're doing. It makes no sense. It's like, subhanAllah, like let's focus locally, right? When we are locally strong, we're locally firm, then we have the ability to start expanding and have a bigger impact. So tomorrow we have like a
Yeah.
back to school giveaway kind of thing. We're going to go with like 125 bags packed with school supplies and give it to these Syrian children, refugees. And sometimes it's like, it's mind boggling because the person that we're working with, it's not another organization. It's one sister. She lives in
Oh
Staten
wow.
Island. And for the last 7 years, single handedly been literally helping out, sponsoring
Subhanallah.
hundreds of like
Wow.
Syrian refugee families, connecting them with different resources. And I'm like, oh my God, look at this one person, what this one person could do. Because sometimes we think like, oh, what can I do? I don't have resources. I'm not, I don't have $100 million. I don't have this. And we'll lie, this is BS. This is like shaitan getting inside of our heads, trying to like pretty much, downgrade us and, whispering west in our ears saying you're nothing, you're nobody, you have no skills, you don't have a PhD, you don't have a, don't do nothing, stay home, don't worry about it. But it shows you, subhanAllah, what one person could do, as long as you put the dedication in and time. So, but that's, wallah, subhanAllah, like it's crazy that Syrian refugee children living in our backyard and
Yeah.
we're just
Yeah.
focusing everything back home.
Yeah. Subhanallah. Brother Mohammed, I really wanted to talk to you about basically how all these projects start, because it seems like every single I was gonna say every single year, but every single couple months there's like something new that you and your team
Hmm.
are trying to do. Right, this past week there was something called the Hunger Truck. Right, it's basically a food truck that that is going to drive around and feed the homeless pretty much. So it's going to streamline a lot of the things they're already doing, and it's just going to make it easier for the community.
Hmm.
So I guess what I really do want to ask you is how did your love for so much community work develop, right? Because it's very hard to get one project started, but what's your motivation, and how were you brought up such that you can put your hand in so many using so many different projects, so many different pieces of community work.
Yeah, that's a question that I get a lot, to be honest. Like, but for me, it was simple. To be honest, I grew up normally. I went to, I came here back in 1993. I'm 36 years old now, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
came here when I was 9 years old, went to regular school. I went to Bryant High School in Queens. I was in the football team, regular kid,
Oh.
didn't pray, didn't do nothing. But literally after 9/11, things kind of changed for me religiously. A lot of my friends, almost all, most of them non-Muslims, always used to be like, yo, Big Mo, whatever. They used to call me Mo, nicknames. Then all of a sudden, 9/11 happened. They started making jokes. Oh, Muhammad, your religion is this, your prophet is this. And for
Mm.
me, it was so embarrassing because my name is Muhammad and I knew nothing about Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, nothing at all. And they would start throwing accusations. Yo, your prophet used to do this. Your prophet was a pedophile. He married a little girl. I'm like, no, what are you talking about? No, he didn't. And I had no information. And they would show me, look. And I'm like, what the hell? Is this real? It got to the point where I was so embarrassed that, like, yo, how am I named after someone and I know nothing about this person?
Wow.
Like, you know, so alhamdulillah, like after I finished high school, went to college, I was like, you know what? That's it. I gotta start doing some research on my faith. Like it just makes no sense. Like, I want to
What
know if
college did you
I'm
go to?
even gonna commit. I went to like locally, like a community college in Queens,
Gotcha.
like Wardia Community College.
Mhm.
So I got involved with the MSAs and stuff. I was trying to learn more about Islam. But at that point, I pretty much made a decision that, okay, I'm gonna learn about my religion. If I like it, I follow it. If I don't like it, you know, screw it. Let me just continue doing whatever I'm doing, right? Alhamdulillah, learning more about the Prophet's character got me more attracted to him, the lifestyle, the personality, and increased kind of a form of pride, right? That wow, because every time I saw Muslims, or actually I judged Islam through Muslims, right? So every time I go to a masjid, you know, my parents used to try to force me to pray and whatever. I'm like, okay, fine. So I'll go to a local masjid and I'm sitting there. I see like a little roach going in the carpet. I go to the bathroom. It's like disgusting. I'm like, yo, like what kind of like, is this like religion is? I'm like, get out of here, yo. This is backwards. I don't want to be associated with Muslims, whatever. So I always judge religion on Muslims, which was, you know, completely wrong. And I think a lot of us do this today amongst the youth and everything, right? We try to make excuses or whatever. Um, but honestly, like after I started, you know, learning more about Islam, and um, one thing I really dwelled into was just the character of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu, that he was the complete opposite of selfishness, right? It was everything about other people. Like he sacrificed so much just he sacrificed, you know, his family, his life, and then his companions. His companions sacrificed so much. So I started seeing a trend that the early generations of Muslims, like the Sahaba and everything, all used to sacrifice. They gave up so much just for this idea to spread, right? And then I'm looking at myself today, like, man, I'm taking advantage of this concept, right? I'm taking advantage of this idea that so many people put down their life on, that so many people worked so hard to spread this beautiful idea. So I was like, let me take it more seriously. And then I started searching more about charity and so forth. After a lot of research, that right, that sadaqah, charity is not something you do to like things are going, you're sad, you want to marry a girl, you want to marry this boy, you want to get accepted to this college or get a good job. So let me do some charity, right? Let me do some sadaqah. Maybe Allah is going to bless me with this. When we're using charity today as like a bargaining chip, right? Like, yo, Allah, look what I did today. I fed the homeless. I did this. Can you please accept my dua? And honestly, that's what I used to think charity is. Like you do something on the side, right? So, you know, if you want something from Allah, you do this little good deed. But I came to the point where it's like, yo, charity is an obligation. And if I don't do charity, I'm going to be punished, right? Just like fasting, just like praying, just like giving zakat or going to Hajj if you can. And that's what really changed the concept for me. That's number one. That was like the foundation of it, right? So for me, through my scope, through my vision, through my eyes, I see charity as an individual, obligatory action that every Muslim must do. And if you don't do, I believe that I will be punished for it, because again, it's a very lengthy thing, and please do cut me because I talk a lot about this. It's obviously, you can see I'm very passionate
Yeah, no
about it.
worries, no worries.
Go on, continue.
Yeah, because it's I mean, subhanAllah, like where do you start? One of the most and I'm gonna share with you one saying of a Sahaba that blew my mind, changed everything about charity, right? I'll get to it in a second. But the concept of charity is really, when we say we're giving back, that's why, you know, the name Muslims
Muslims
giving
giving
back.
back, right?
Exactly. People are like, yo, what are you giving? What are you guys giving? I'm like, we're giving what Allah gave us, right? Allah gave me youth. Allah gave me good health, right? Allah gave
Oh,
me
subhanallah, that blew my mind, because this whole time I was
all
thinking
these
that,
things.
yeah, I was thinking that Muslims giving back was like giving back to the community. More,
Mm-mm.
yeah.
No,
Oh wow, subhanallah,
it's us in individual
Wow.
capacity, because you know
subhanallah.
what can I get? I'm giving back my time. You know, Allah
Right,
subhanahu wa
right.
ta'ala gave me time,
Wow.
right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me health. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me wealth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me a mind, the ability to be creative or see things differently. All these things that Allah gave me, right? That, you know, many others don't have, that they wish they would have. How many people around the world wish they had the ability to speak, to see, wish they had the ability to walk or go home to sleep in a comfortable bed? Or, you know, all these things that Allah gave me, I have to give it back. I have to share it. I cannot hoard it. I cannot be cheap about it, right? So one saying of a Sahaba, and for me, this is like my the icing on the cake. This is my smoking gun. This is what changed everything for me, how I look at charity. Charity is selfish, right? Sometimes we think when you're doing charity, you're really helping people, you're doing this. When you're doing charity, you're not helping nobody but yourself, right? Because let's be logical. If I go out every day to feed the homeless, right? What am I doing? What am I giving them? Just a plate of food with a little rice and chicken? Is that going to change their life? Is it going to cause some crazy change? No, it's not, right? It's nothing. I'm just giving them a little tiny plate and that's it, right? But what is that plate of food? If you look at the value, right, for the person that's receiving it, it's just a plate of food. They could get it from any other person if they go and beg or whatever, right? It doesn't have that much value. But for me, for the one that's giving, that plate of food could be the reason you go to Jannah and be saved from the hellfire. There's just that one plate of food. And I'll give you a hadith to back this up. There's a beautiful hadith of Prophet Muhammad that he said there'll be a group of people, right? They would be so close to the hellfire where he said like an arm span. They'll be an arm span near the hellfire. But because of one deed that they've done, Allah saved them from the hellfire and put them in Jannah. Because of that one deed. And we have stories, the famous story of the prostitute.
Yeah.
Remember the famous story of the prostitute with the thirsty dog?
Yeah.
Right? One action she did. She was so close to the hellfire, right? She had a life of zina, sleeping around, committing fornication, the most disgusting, vile things. And she was so close to the hellfire, but that one good deed that she made, that was pure, sincere, no one was around to look at her. She didn't do it for the, you know, for the clout or for the likes or anything. She did it because she saw this animal that was thirsty, that was dying, and she felt something inside that she had to give back, right? That one sincere act, Allah saved her from the hellfire. So for me, I see every action like that. I'm like, yo, this project, this individual, this $1 I'm gonna give, this plate of food I'm gonna do, whatever it is, this hour I'm gonna spend painting this apartment, or this 30 minutes I'm gonna spend, you know, writing emails to try to help this family get certain benefit, whatever. This could be your ticket to Jannah. Because honestly, we don't know what gets accepted, what doesn't, right? It's not up to us. Like, I've been feeding the homeless for 7 years. How do I know what's being accepted? Maybe none of it is being accepted. Maybe my intention maybe is wrong. Maybe I'm doing it for the fame. Maybe I'm doing it for the popularity. Maybe I'm doing it for the money. Who knows? Only Allah knows, right? So it's like an investment, right? You really don't know what's gonna happen, right? You're putting your money in the stock market. You're putting money. You're trying to open this business. You don't know what's gonna happen, right? But the more good deeds you do, the more chances of Allah accepting these little actions here and there, right?
Right.
And the concept where I told you that charity is selfish, because trust me, you're never going to get that fire inside you burning. You're never going to develop the passion, the love, the dedication for charity unless you believe it's an obligation, right? And this is why it separates us from us and the Sahaba, right? Just look at the Sahaba mentality. The Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet, they always went to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and told him, what do you need us to do? What can we do for Islam? What can we do for you, O Prophet Allah? What can we do for Allah? They're always asking, what can we do? What can we do? Today's community, or today's generation, today's time, it's like the opposite. We look at Islam and say, what can Islam do for me? What can Allah do for me? What can the Prophet Muhammad do for me, right? And I'm like, subhanAllah, this is such a wrong mentality to have. Because the companions were completely the opposite. They never sat there and be like, if I become Muslim, if I pray a Fajr, if I do this, what is Allah going to do for me? For them, no. It was always, what can I do for Allah? What can I do for the Prophet? What can I do for Islam? What can I do for the community? Because why? They understood that everything they have is not from them, it's from Allah. And just like Allah could give you something very quick, He could take it away even quicker, right? And this is why some people, wallahi al-adim, like, I think in the last 2 weeks, how many young brothers in our community died?
SubhanAllah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Like so many brothers. One brother drowned, another brother car accident, another brother motorcycle accident. So quick, so fast that Allah will give you life like this and He'll take it away even quicker, right? So we need to understand that sometimes that we have to be grateful for what we have, right? And what is the best way of being grateful for something? Like right now, if I won the lottery and I'm like, yo, I'm so grateful. Oh my God, I won $1 million. Right? I'm so grateful, guys, and I'm telling you how grateful I am. You guys can be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm sure you're grateful, right? I'm just saying it. But what if I contact you guys personally, privately, be like, yo, you know what? Yo, Shaquille, here's $50,000, bro.
That'd be
Yo,
great.
Gilad, here's $50,000. I want to share this with you. Yeah, right? You're gonna be like, damn, like, wow. Like, yo, Bahe really is great because I'm so grateful for what I have. I want to share it with people, right? I don't want to. So the best way to show gratitude to Allah is through what? Action, through giving back. And this is exactly what Allah even said, that the more grateful we are, the more He's going to give us, right? In shakartum la azidannakum. If you are grateful, I will give you more. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us another rule after that, which is scary, that if you are not grateful, what would happen? That He is severe, the most severe in punishment. SubhanAllah. Right? But in the adab is shadid. So like, subhanAllah, Allah is trying to give us a good news that, hey, if you want to be grateful, I'll give you more. But if you don't want to be grateful, I am the severe of punishers. Right? Which means that whatever we have, everything could take out in a snap. But just to share that, because I want to get you guys insight thoughts in this as well. Just to go back to that concept, I told you that one statement. If you want to know what blew my mind on charity, whatever, I always tell people the same saying. And this is the saying of Uthman ibn Affan, right? The person who married 2 daughters of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said something about charity. When I tell you it exploded my mind, I'm like, this is just ridiculous. I never heard this before. He said that charity will never be accepted by Allah until you sincerely believe that I need the reward more than the beggar needs the money. I need the reward more than the beggar needs the money. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the Sahaba mentality. For them, they took, this is why they jumped in every opportunity. Any opportunity that consisted of any good deeds, they jumped into it. Because why? Especially if you read the story of Uthman bin Affan, he single-handedly finance a whole army during, the Battle of Badr and so forth. Why? Because he had this mentality that I need the reward more than the beggar needs the money, which means what? Charity is selfish. So right now, Shakil, Hilal, if one of you are like, yo, Bahe, oh, bro, I need help, I need this, I need that, can you please help me out? At that moment, it's like, yo, oh man, I want to get the good deeds. I'm thinking about myself. I don't care about you. Like, yeah, you're in a bad situation. That's cool. But like, yo, I want the good deeds. That's what's going to motivate me. That's why I'm going to be like, hey, I'm coming right now. I'm coming. Don't call nobody. I got you. Boom. Go over there quick. Because why? I want the reward. Right? Because if we think the opposite, you're going to get lazy. Be like, yo, bro, I'm home. I'm tired, man. Come on, man. I got no time to help you. No, you're not. I'm not helping you. I'm helping myself. Because when I give you, whatever it is, brother, I need a loan. Yo, bro, can you help me out with something? Can you find me a job? Anything. Every good deed we do, we're helping ourselves. Because like I said, every action, every dollar, every cent, every penny that we're giving, that could be that golden ticket. Willy Wonka, the golden ticket, right?
Right, yeah.
That could be the ticket that, inshallah, we go to Jannah. So this is why, for me personally, I'm talking about personally, that I always try to come up with anything, new projects that no one is doing or something, because like I'm very selfish, and everyone that knows me would know me. I'm selfish. Like, yo, I want to do all the work. I don't care. You want to come and join me? Go ahead. But I'm going to do the work. I'm just going to sit there and watch you take all the good deeds. And I'm sitting there like a sucker. I'm like, no. I'm like, move out of my way. I want the good deeds because that's what it is. It's competition. You know, our
Yeah.
life is short. We don't know what's going to happen. I could die tomorrow. I could die right now when I start driving back home. I don't know what Allah's waiting for me. So for me to take my sweet time and be like, no, you know, let me take a year. Let me, when I grow old, I'm going to start getting active in the community. No, guys. And
Uh,
wallah, if we start thinking that charity is selfish,
subhanallah.
that's, you know, best way of being a good Muslim. You know.
Subhanallah. Wow.
Subhanallah.
I one
You hit on so many good points
yeah.
right there.
I think
Hilal, sorry, yeah, I
yeah,
cut you
really
off.
quick, just interject. One thing that really stood out to me, and it hit me really close as well, because one of the major issues I have when I try to do some like public like work, you know, I told you like a little earlier on, like how I would try to do some like collaborative MSA work to get united.
Mhm.
So like doing these works, like one of the issues I have is I always start to think like on a macro level, like I want to get this many number of people involved, like
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
no.
want to get
Being
all
friends with Hilal
involved.
for the past few years, you know this. This
So
man's a dreamer.
So, I mean, of course, there's pros and cons, but
Yeah, yeah.
one of the issues I've seen, like just like hearing from you speak, I don't. A lot of times, I forget the value in just doing a single work, getting a single person involved, doing one slight action. Like as you mentioned, when you give out food to the homeless, I'm sure, of course, at the end of the day or end of the week, you guys count how many plates of food you gave out. But the whole point isn't I want to give out this many quota. But at the end of the day, you start off like just giving this one plate of food can be my ticket to Jannah. This one plate, for them it might not be anything, but for me, this could be the entire, better than anything in this dunya, this act that I'm giving. And I think for me personally, that's something I lose out in when alhamdulillah, I do try to do some work, but I think a lot of times I lose focus on the actual thing that I'm doing, and I start to think on a macro level, like how can I just uh, make it bigger? How can I just make it better? Which of course you should think about, but also focusing on the actual details of what you're doing and how much value just focusing on one little thing has. And I think having that mentality, that like subhanallah, just like starting off, I think everyone just realizing the value of taking one step in, giving 1 cent, providing just one plate of food to someone, just knowing how much value that has, that should be enough for all of us to inshallah just get started, and inshallah from there we'll grow. um,
Inshallah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
like Hilal, you mentioned like a very good point. And that's something that I till this day I still struggle with. Even other people, I see it in there. First of all, I give you one good piece of advice that someone gave me. Right, big things have small beginnings. Right, big things have small beginnings. Sometimes we focus so much on that 5-year plan, 10-year vision, and I want to build this, I want to build that. And we understand, like, yo, fine, that's cool to have,
Yeah.
mashallah. But in order to get there, you got to start doing the little small things. So
Mhm.
what happens? Someone ends up just like, getting a pen and paper and drawing this fancy, elaborate plan and never implementing anything because you're trying to focus on the big things. So understand, big things have small beginnings, right? Start small, and whatever happens, it happens, right? But
Inshallah.
you did mention something about saying that I'm by myself, just one person, collab. Let me tell you guys a little secret about myself, right? I am the most unorganized person you would ever meet. Wallahi, people think like, oh wow, these projects, you have freedom bakeries across the world, Peru, Palestine, Yemen, like in 5 different countries, freedom bakeries. Then we have the women's shelter. Then we have Muslims giving back. Then we have our masjid, MC, all these things going on. And people think that there's like this elaborate system that me personally that I use. Bro, number one, I don't even have an office. I hate
Mm.
office. I hate emails. I hate paperwork. All that stuff. I'm the most unorganized person. I forget everything. Every time but Shakil, how many times you try to do this video?
Oh man, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah.
there's so much stuff going on. I'm like, yo,
No,
bro,
that's
tonight,
exactly it.
9 o'clock.
You have like a ton of stuff going on. I mean, but
No,
the past couple of times when we tried to schedule this, you were literally buying a truck to feed the homeless. How am I supposed to get mad at that? Like
no,
obviously.
but it's true, but still, because I'm not organized, right? Everyone's like, yo, Ben, you need that app that gives you, whatever, alarms or reminders. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, get out of here, man. But I'm telling you, but you know what? I'm telling you, because I sat down with people that literally are giving lessons. They're giving courses about time management. And, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, bro, buddy, like, well, it's You know, like sometimes I sit there, I never took a time management course. I never took an organization course. I never took any courses when it comes to that. But I'm doing something, or I have something that many people don't have. You know what it is? It's that drive that I told you about. Because if you have that drive,
Definitely.
right? Well, Adi, man, nothing could stop you. Number one, I don't care about statistics. I don't care about if I'm given one plate food or 1,000. I really don't care. A lot of people be like, wow, 7 years. How many plates you guys gave out? What's the number?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't care. Like, who cares how many number I gave out? Maybe
Yeah.
it's been 200, 300,000 meals. So what? What am I going to do? Like, sit there and pat myself on the back, right? Another thing, never depend on people's reaction. There's a beautiful verse in Surah Al-Insan where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that there's a group of people says, إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ, right? That we feed you for the sake of Allah only. This is a group of people doing good deeds and telling another group of people that we're feeding you only for the sake of Allah. لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. And we want nothing from you. We don't want thanks, nor do we want reward, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us a secret recipe here, right? If you want to do good deeds, number one, do it for the sake of Allah alone, and do not expect anything back. And I think that's today's problem with a lot of youth, even a lot of older people. I'm telling you, bro, I know brothers and sisters personally that they're always telling me, oh, Bahi, you have to have an appreciation dinner for the volunteers. You have to give them awards. And I'm like, wait, excuse me. I'm like, why am I going to give appreciation and reward for a group of people that they're supposed to be doing the right thing? Like, I don't understand. Like, did you ever get an award for praying Jum'ah for the last 10 years of your life? No. Wouldn't that look kind of weird? Right? Imagine someone coming to you, Brother Shakir, Brother Hilal, this is an award for you. MashaAllah, you've been praying Jum'ah. You'd be like, no, I'm not getting a reward for this. I'm supposed to do this. It's the same thing for charity. And think about it. Like, we're so brainwashed when it comes to charity, man. It's like, it's like everybody wants that little award to hang up in their wall. And it's so pathetic. It's like, the thing is plastic, right? It's a piece of paper. It has no value. Like, but we want that so much. And sometimes people will they will not get involved with a charity, or they get demoralized. They get just demoralized. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. No one's recognizing my effort. Right? I'm not getting a lot of likes. I'm not getting a lot of shares. I'm not getting enough, there's not enough exposure. Just like you, Brother Shakir. Like, you have a show right now.
Yeah,
you have a lot of episodes. Maybe you only have 50 likes in your page. Maybe you have 50,000. Who cares? Why? What's your intention to begin with? Right?
Yeah,
your
of course.
Right. Your intention is just to do something. You're trying to benefit people in your own capacity. Right? We're not responsible for the results. Allah only tells us to do the work. That's it. But our problem today, we always want results, right? And everything we do it for a couple of days, we do it for a couple of weeks, and we just give up.
Yeah,
Why?
we want immediate gratification, right?
Exactly. We want that. Oh, man, listen, I've been doing this for a month. I only have 500 likes. Oh, this is a failure. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
500 is
like,
amazing.
Look at Noah, Prophet Noah. You know how old Prophet Noah was? For how many years he lived?
900, right?
Yeah, 950 years. 950 years of da'wah he was making. You know how many people became Muslim? Or, how many people accepted his message out of 950 years? It was like 80-something people. It was like 80-something people. So statistically, he did a horrible job, statistically, right? Because that means out of 950 years, you do the math. How many, what is it, like every 10 years, one person accepts his message or something? I don't have a calculator in front of me.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous. Like, mathematically, it's horrible, right? So, but subhanAllah, he continued to do so, because I'm telling you, never rely on your results. Because if every time you're going to sit there and be like, oh no, I did this project and not too many people showed up, or not enough likes, like, Habibi, like, why did you do it to begin with, right? But I'm telling you, when you do things for the sake of Allah and you expect nothing back, I'm telling you, success is just going to start trickling down. Because number one, you're never going to feel bad about it, right? You're just going to do the project. You're like carefree. You don't care if it goes viral. You don't care if it goes this way or this way. You just don't care, man. But never expect anything back from nobody. Just do the right thing. small or big, it does not matter. We just have to do something. That's it.
Exactly. And I do want to kind of elaborate on a point that you mentioned earlier about competing towards reward, right? And we shouldn't, exactly compete in the sense of, trying to get that clout on social media by posting like, hey, I have fed this many people, or I helped out this many people, or anything like that. But we should be competing in the sense of competing for good for the sake of Allah, like the Sahaba. There's a famous story of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and Umar radiallahu anhu. There's a ton of stories where they're competing towards goodness, and there's a story where Rasulullah he was raising funds for a cause, and so all the Sahaba, they're bringing whatever they have, and Abu Bakr and Umar radiallahu anhu, he comes, and Abu Bakr and Umar, they always had this rivalry going on, right? Like, hey, how can I do more than this guy? How can I do more than that guy? Because they were always number one, number two, right? So Umar radiallahu anhu, he comes and he brings in half of all his wealth and all his treasures. And he's like, I think I got Abu Bakr beat today. Like, I brought half of everything I own. I'm like, how is this man going to beat me? And so he brings that, and he already sees Abu Bakr there with maybe a pouch full of things, right? Or maybe like a sandbag full of items and treasures, right? And Umar, in his head, he's thinking, I got this man beat, right? So Rasulullah, he individually asked them, right, Umar, how many did you bring? And Umar said, I brought half of my wealth. And Rasulullah, he asked Abu Bakr, how much of your wealth did you bring? And Abu Bakr says, I brought everything that I have. And when Rasulullah, he asked him, well, what did you leave for your family? And he said, I left Allah and His Rasul, right? And that's something I think that we forget a lot of the time, that, what am I losing when I'm giving to someone, or what am I gaining, right? If I give this much to this guy, then I'm left with this much. And if I give like an hour of my time, then I'm left with this much of my day. When in actuality, you're just gaining for yourself on top of that. You're gaining more love from Allah. You're gaining, the barakah of being part of the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I think that's just something that, we constantly have to remind ourselves. Just like you mentioned for that, you were talking for a while, and mashallah, you brought on like amazing good points. Yeah. Like I have no idea like where to even start commenting on what you just said. Mashallah.
Well, I think honestly, for me to start, for me, so many things that you mentioned, it kind of hit me as well. Like directly, I completely forgot we're even like doing the podcast. I was just trying to
exactly, right.
I was trying to reflect on like
I was zoned in like fully.
Yeah. I'm trying to reflect on a lot of the things, actions, and initiatives I've been trying, and like kind of how to implement that. I guess one of the biggest things that I would want to ask you, I guess advice from me, is how do you manage to keep this going and expanding? What do I specifically mean by that? Of course, it starts with one plate of food, one donation. It starts. But, as you mentioned, you want to come up with like new ideas, things people aren't doing every single day. How do you kind of keep that going and to ensure that it's something that isn't just like only doing one small thing, only affecting one group, but you're always trying to improve on? And then the second point to that is, what advice would you have for people like us, me and Shaquille, and a lot of the people watching who are trying to be involved or who are trying to make these initiatives themselves? How can we, inshallah, take that first step ourselves and, inshallah, hopefully follow on your footsteps and continue the work you've been doing or doing similar things on our own?
My bad, Hilo. Just before Brother Mohammed answers, I kind of just want to add another question to that. A lot of people that we know, they do want to get invested into charity work and making their lifestyle. What steps would they need to go in to make it like a full-time job for them, or make it like their life's cause? What kind of things would make it easier for them to embark on that path?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, excellent questions. I'll start with yours, Shakir, since it's the freshest. I mean, number one, yeah, Muslims Giving Back, I'm a volunteer. In my professional job, I'm an x-ray tech, right? I'm a radiographer at a private clinic. Yeah, I don't do this full time. I do everything volunteer. It's actually an oath that I made 7 years ago when I started this organization, that I would never take a penny as a salary from it. And I said that to myself. Why? Because I knew it was going to be it was going to be like a conflict of interest, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's one thing to do a good deed because I feel like it's an obligation. It's another thing to do it because it's your job, right? Think about it. If it's part of my job, it's like I'm being forced to, right? It's not the same. Um, but this is why I told you, like, you have to, number one, really understand the concept of charity in Islam. And I think the problem is sometimes people just, you know what it is? Like, you don't want to be that person, like, if this is a Coca-Cola bottle, you shake it, and then, the explosion is coming out. But then what happens to the leftover of the Coke? It becomes, stale. There's
Yeah.
no more bubbles in there. It's like it's died out, right? You cannot shake it again. And I think it usually happens to a lot of us, man. When we get burnt out, like we have these beautiful ideas, we get excited about it. We'll have, 20 meetings, and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and there's just nothing ever materializes, right? And I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
what's going? And when I tell you, I've seen it 1,000 times. I'm telling you, I sat down with so many people. I try to guide them, help them start nonprofit organizations, everything, and they have a whole team, a whole team. I don't know, they have funds already, they have resources, and I'm like, yo, that's not how I started. It was completely opposite. I had zero, actually negative. I was still in college while working and trying to do this, right? But for me, it was never about, oh, I want to create this big organization because I want to, I want to be the founder. I want to be the executive director and this and that. For me, it was always simple. I told you, like, yo, I want to get good deeds, right, as much as possible, and I need to create something. I need to create some sort of tool that's going to give me this, good deeds as much as possible, right? So, like right now, like Brother Hilal, about the question how to stay creative and stuff. That's all I do. Like literally, if I'm driving, I'm going somewhere, I'm always thinking like, okay, alhamdulillah, we've been feeding the homeless for 7 years at a certain location.
Mhm.
We're kind of over our capacity, right? We've reached that limit where we're giving out like 300 meals every night. Like, how do we take it to the next level, right? How can we add more? How can we do this? That's when I was like, man, hunger truck. Like, those like halal food trucks. What
Mhm.
if we just get one of those and make it only to feed not just the homeless, just poor communities, right? You could go pull up to the projects. You could pull up anywhere, start giving out meals, feed, kids. And that's really what it is. It's just, but again, don't get me wrong. Like, definitely you have to be creative, right? And anything, if you ever want to start an organization, you never want to create the same wheel. If someone is already
Yeah.
doing something, you don't want to be like, oh, I'm gonna do exactly that.
Mhm.
It's like, I don't know. It's not. I'm not gonna say it's not logical, but it's just not gonna be much effective. Someone's already doing it. Um, but to go back to your question, to be honest, bro, that's why I always tell people. I'm like, yo, just do it. Just start something small. Don't sit there and be like, we want to do a big event. We want to feed 1,000 people. We're gonna give 100. No, just do small. Go out. You know how I started in the beginning? We were literally driving around Manhattan like every Friday and Saturday night for like 4 hours, from like midnight to like 3 in the morning. And the only food we were giving was just like rice and beans, no chicken, no nothing. We used to have like only like 20 meals. But it was, I used to be me, like 2, 3 of my friends. We were hanging out in the city. I'm like, yo, you guys want to go drive around Manhattan and Times Square and stuff? But, we're going to go feed the homeless. We're like, yo, let's do it. We'll just drive up, Times Square, Broadway. We see a homeless person outside. We'll pull over, go out, give him a plate of food. So after that day, we're like, yo, this is pretty nice. It felt good. It was easy. The food cost us nothing, $52 a meal. And I'm
Wow.
like, yo, look, it's just 3 of us. And subhanAllah, we just fed like 30, 40 people. Why can't we do this every Friday night? We're like, yeah, why not? I'm like, yo, let's do it. So start doing it every Friday night, right?
Mhm.
But little by little, people started joining. Then one car became 2 cars, then 3 cars. It was to the point where we had like 6, 7 cars. And like, you go uptown, you go downtown, you go east side, you go west side. Each car had like 50 meals, socks. It became something crazy, right? But I'm telling you, it took years. It
Mhm.
took years uh to get to that point, right? But our problem, we don't understand, and wallahi, like the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu gave us so many hints, like so many words of wisdom that if we just apply it, we would be successful. One of the most beloved deeds to Allah is something consecutive, even if it's small, right? You guys know the hadith,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That Allah loves consecutive deeds, even if it's tiny, because they're impactful, which means what? when, if it's repetitive, if you're doing it constantly, that's how success is, right? You don't just do it once and you're like, yep, oh, let me relax now. I'll do this again next year. You're not causing any change, right? But like, imagine I'm going outside every day and I'm I'm feeding 10 people and you're doing the same and you're doing the same. Now it's 3 people every day going outside feeding, and then someone else does it and someone else does it, right? So if you really want to see change, it has to be something consistent. And I think that's our problem today. The Muslim community is allergic to consistency. If you ever notice, right? In anything, in a business opens up, the food is great. Next week, it's completely different. You're like, yo, what the hell's going on? Like, why these guys keep changing the recipes? Same for a masjid, right? They open this huge masjid. We're going to do this. We're going to have a youth group. We're going to have a basketball. We're going to have a pool. We're going to have this. It changes everything up. A couple of months later, everything changes. Always change. Consecutive. Nothing is ever like repetitive. So I would tell you, bro, honestly, Brother Hilal, whatever ideas you have, whatever initiatives, whatever projects it is, just do it. Just start it up, and then you'll see change. And I'll give you a last point to share. You guys ever saw the movie Fields of Glory or Fields of Dreams?
No, I don't think so.
But you guys, you never seen this movie because you're too young, but you know this movie. It's a very famous movie of a person in the middle of nowhere. They were like in Texas or something, in a farm. And he was getting these visions. He was getting these ideas. He was hearing a voice that says, if you built it, they will come. So he built a baseball field in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if you guys ever heard of a movie like that. It's a very famous movie. And you guys should watch it. It's a beautiful message, right? So in his little village, in his little town, he was a farmer. In the middle of nowhere, this guy started building this like professional sized baseball field, right? Because he keeps getting these, he keeps hearing these words. If you built it, they will come. So everyone started thinking he's crazy. Like, what is this guy doing building this like huge baseball field with the lights and everything? His neighbors thought he was crazy. His wife thought he was crazy. But he kept hearing those thoughts, right? So after he completed it, like what happened, like the movie, like all like I guess the spirits or the souls or whatever, the ghosts of all the past greatest like baseball players like Babe Ruth, Jackie Robinson, all these guys would come to the field and he would start playing baseball with them every night. And nobody would know this. So he was playing baseball because he loved baseball. He was playing baseball with all these great baseball players. He would talk with them. They would share stories with them every night. And nobody knew that because everybody thought it was crazy. So why I'm making this analogy, I'll tell you why. Sometimes we have this beautiful idea, right? But it gets slowed down or it dies or it gets killed because we bring so many people into it that it dilutes it, right? Like if you've noticed, that's what, subhanAllah, I'm telling you, I know so many brothers and sisters, they had beautiful ideas. Sometimes I'm like, damn, I wish I thought of this before them, right? But it never comes to fruition and they never made it happen. And I'm like, yo, whatever happened to that idea that you had last year? Oh man, it just never worked, man. I'm like, why? Oh, we had meetings, we had this, and nobody would come, and then the excuses come, right? Nobody wants to put the effort, nobody wants to put the time. But I'm like, bro, but it's your idea, it's your baby. Why would you expect other people to have the same passion or the same level of commitment like yourself? So I always tell this people, build it and they will come, right? You do the hard work, you do the sacrifice, you lay down the foundation, right? You go through, back and forth, go through hell, go all this crazy stuff. And then you're going to see people going to come to you, right? Our problem today is like, we don't want to initiate anything. We want to bring everyone in, everyone else in, but they're not going to have the same commitment like ourselves. Like, for example, Shaquille, you're trying to start this beautiful show, right? This beautiful podcast. Imagine you're sitting there like, you know what, let me bring 3 other people with me. They're going to try to help me, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not their idea to begin with, right? They might like the idea. Like for me, I personally love this idea. But if you tell me, yo, Bae, can you help me? I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to help you. I'm not going to give it 100%. It's,
Exactly.
I have other things I gotta do.
Trust me, I've had experience with bringing a few people. It's not the same. It's not the same.
It's not. Because it's your idea, right? It's yours. So what you have to do, which you probably already have done, You got to do all the work yourself. You have to build everything from the ground,
yeah,
like get all the
yeah.
equipment, do all the research, get the Facebook page ready, get the logo, design the next 3 months. This is what we're going to talk about. These are the lecturers. These are the people we're going to talk. These people we're going to invite. These are the speakers. Get all the stuff ready. Then you can start bringing brothers or bringing sisters to help you out with the little things, right? Because you just made it easy for them,
Yeah.
right? And this is what and I'm telling you, this is what I do today. Like the hunger truck, any project. I try to do as much work as I can myself, right? So I don't waste people's time and I don't waste my time. When everything is ready, when I got all the questions answered, when I, know everything about the project, if it's legit, then I go to my brothers and sisters and tell them, yo, guys, I got this idea. And this is how it's going to be. Da, 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 da. What do you guys think? Right? I want to get their input. That's when they're like, oh, this is legit. Yo, let's do it. Okay, great. I already know where to get it from. All right? I already contacted somebody about this. Like the hunger truck idea, just to go very briefly. I had the idea for over like almost a year. Till recently, I'm like, you know what, man? It's time to do it. That's it. So what I did first, I went to a couple of dealers. I checked out which vans. I did research on the van, how much space is inside. Can it be converted into a food truck? How much insurance is going to cost every month because it's a commercial truck? Do I need any permits? Do I need anything else? Do I need certain equipment? Where can I go? How I'm going to park it every night? Where I'm going to park it? Who's going to... All the questions. When I got everything, I'm like, yo, this is doable project. What do? Now I make it public. I invite people. I'm like, guys, I'm looking for sponsors who wants to join, who could help me with this, who could help with that. And subhanAllah, left and right, people like, brother, I'll do the wrap. I'll do the design for you. We'll sponsor it. Another brother has a company. Like just today, just to tell you something, look, I just came back. One brother just gave me $15,000 check. Right?
Subhanallah.
Wow.
He owns this little
Wow.
company like DH Care. He loved the idea, by the way. Initially, he was going to give $2,500 because I was going to get a used truck. He was like, bro, why are you going to get a used truck? It's going to be a lot of headaches. Get something brand new. I'm like, bro, I cannot get brand new. That's going to cost us like another $15,000. He's like, don't worry, I'll do it. I was like,
Wow.
okay, why not? Now we have like a brand new Mercedes-Benz, Sprinter. But
Wow.
you see, I made his life easy, right? Imagine I went to this brother. This guy, mashallah, is a big business guy. Sat down with him, and we're talking for 3 hours about the concept of the hunger truck. And then he's going to ask me questions that have nothing to know of. Oh, Bahe, do you need permit? I don't know if I need permit. I don't know. I'll get back to you. Then I meet up with him again.
Yeah.
He's just wasting people's time. Why not just, it's easier if I do all the work, I do all the research, and when you have everything ready, now you can go to people. So the same for you, Hilal. Say you have this beautiful idea, beautiful initiative. Do all the work yourself. Do all the research. How much is going to cost? What exactly do we need? Well, how can we do it? Is it legal? Is it safe? Is it halal? Get everything ready. And then all you got to do now is just present it to the community, right? And you already have all your answers. Because, if I ask you a question, oh, but how are we going to get this? Oh, boom, done. I'm going to be like, oh, wow. This guy already did his homework. All right, go ahead. Count me in because it's less work for me. You did all the work.
Yeah.
But you can't come up to me and be like, oh, Brother Bahe, I have this beautiful idea of, starting this. Can you help me with? And I'm like, hold on, you want me to do all this work now? I don't have time for this. It seems too much, But for me, honestly, that's what I always tell people, man. If you built it, they will come. Which means what? Just do it. You take the initiative. You take the lead. You set up everything, right? And then I guarantee you, people are going to want to come. People are going to want to be part of it because they're like, wow, this is such an amazing idea. And it's already, it's already like planned. It's already organized. And it's easier for people to join rather than telling them, come, let's sit down for 30 meetings every Friday for 3 hours, Zoom meeting. People get tired, man. They're like, yo, I'm done. Leave me alone. Like, how many WhatsApp groups can you be in, right?
Yeah.
We're going to make a WhatsApp group. We're going to do this. It's like, bro, leave me alone, So anyway, go ahead. I talk too much.
No, Jazakallah khairan. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much of what you said applied to me. Like, even though you don't I didn't go fully into detail of what I was trying to do, but it really hit everything.
Yeah, I feel like
nail.
a lot of this was like a counseling session for both of us because
Yeah.
like me and Hilal have like a lot of that. Like, trust me, you have no idea how much that applied to the stuff that
I'm telling you guys, you just do it, man. But again, you have to have that mentality. I'm telling you, You have to develop like me. I have that mentality. I don't care what people think about me. I don't care about people's opinions. I don't care about my image. You know, people call me, oh, Brother Bahe. I'm like, don't call me Brother Bahe. Just call me Bahe. Call me Mohammed. Like, why you got to give me a title? And me, I don't like titles. I hate
Oh
titles.
shit.
Yeah, I hate titles because me, I used to like, I'm like, why? Like, well, does it make you feel better if I'm the founder and executive director? I'm like, bro, who cares? Till this day, I tell people I'm a volunteer of Muslims Giving Back. That's it. That's what I am.
Wow.
Am I a founder of Muslims Giving Back? Yes. Am I the president? Yes. Am I the executive director? Yes. But who cares? Why do I have to say those titles? I'm a volunteer in the end. This is why I'm doing it. So it's just easier to tell people, no, I'm a volunteer of Muslims Giving Back. Done.
Mashallah.
Because you know why, bro? Once you start giving yourself those titles, remember, we're human beings. That's when shaitan is going to creep up, man.
Yeah.
Shaitan creeps up, and you start thinking that you're a little, like you're the man right now. You know,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about myself. But in my so-called office in the masjid, it's not really my office. I share it with like the sisters that they do all this stuff. I have all these plaques. I have maybe like 10 or 12 awards from the mayor's office. They're all in a drawer. All in a drawer. And the people always like, yo, why don't you hang these up and stuff? I'm like, for what? Like, why am I going to hang it up? Like, each one of them is like, it's wood. It's made in China. Like, why am I going to hang it up? Like, yeah, alhamdulillah, I do appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I do appreciate it when people recognize the work that we're doing. Of course, it's beautiful. It shows that we have an impact on our community. But if you think I'm going to take this thing and hang it up in my house and I'm looking at it every day and be like, yeah, man, I'm so proud of like, what are we to be proud of ourselves? Like, you know what I'm trying to tell you? I'm telling you, you have to develop because there's so much disease out there that in social media makes things 1,000 times worse, man. Instagram, TikTok, Snapchats, Facebook. Like we all want, that attention. We all want to be a community leader. I'm an organizer. I'm this and I'm that. And wallahi, like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like a long time ago, when I started, right when I started practicing Islam, I used to feel like I'm a loser, right? Because I would see I was just like a high school kid, coming, starting college, and I had these big dreams, but I had nothing, literally nothing, no experience, $0. I knew nobody. Nobody knew who the hell I am, right? And I used to see all these other people, Imam this and Sheikh this. They're going there, lecture in front of 50,000 people, millions of followers, and I'm like, oh man, like what the hell am I gonna do compared to these people? Like I'm a nobody, right? But that's the mentality I used to have, and honestly, I had to like completely wash it off. This is why I have the mentality now that sometimes gets me in trouble. That I don't care what people think. I don't care about people's feelings. I don't care about people's emotions or their opinions. Because in the end, what do we say? It's that I'm selfish. Charity is selfish. So I don't care what people have to say about me. If they say something good about me, good. It's not going to affect me. If they say something bad, good. It's not going to affect me either because I'm not doing it for them, right? I'm doing it for myself, right? So like it's like me right now about to eat this Cliff Bar. It's peanut butter, right? So imagine you guys are like, oh, peanut butter is disgusting. Peanut butter is nasty. Say what the hell you want. I love peanut butter. I don't care what you guys say about peanut butter, right? It's the same thing. Whatever you do, who cares what people say? Oh, this show is boring. Oh, this podcast is boring. Who gives a crap? If you like it, if it's making you happy, if it's making you feel good, who cares what other people say? So I'm telling you, before you start anything, just clear your minds right now. You have to have that mentality where you don't give a care about nobody's opinions. And I'm telling you, this is how the Sahaba were. Umar ibn Khattab. You think Umar ibn Khattab, when he became Muslim, you think he cared about what people think about him? Nobody. He didn't care. He went out public and challenged everybody. And whoever has a problem right now that accepted Islam, step up. Step up right now. That's how the Sahabas were. They did not care about people's opinions. They did not care about their image. What are people going to think of me? But today's society, man, it's like we have this disease going around. And I'm telling you, for me, it comes from shaitan, because shaitan does not want you to do good deeds. Because if you do good deeds, you become closer to Allah, right? And that's shaitan's number one job, is to make me separated as far as possible from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And what happens when you do good deeds? The more good deeds you do, the more closer to Allah you're going to become. right? Shaitan does not want to do that. And this is why I see so many brothers and sisters have beautiful initiatives, beautiful ideas, but it just dies out. And I'm like, yo, why, what's going on? How come you didn't do it? Oh, I don't know, man. I just, maybe this, I didn't think it was going to be good. People said it's a stupid idea. People said this, it was not getting traction. No one was listening. No one was watching. I'm like, bro, who cares if people are watching or not? If you think it's a good idea, if you feel great about it, Allah's watching. Allah's watching the show. Allah is hearing the podcast. Allah is seeing you, what you're doing. Who gives a crap about everybody else, right? So to me, develop this mentality that,
inshallah,
please the Creator. Always seek to please the Creator, not the creation. And I think that's today's, unfortunately today, that we're so concerned about people's opinions. We're so concerned about the creation's opinions. We forget about what Allah thinks about us.
I think,
right? We forget about how Allah is looking at us.
Yeah, I think that's the main point, like just starting it right. When you start it for the right reasons, for the right cause, no matter how big or how small it is, when you put that first step for the right reasons, it doesn't matter what other people say, like as you were mentioning. Inshallah, you do you, make sure that you're doing it for the correct reasons, and inshallah, there will be barakah in it.
That's it. The result is not in our hands, right? The result is never in our hands.
Yeah, there's this,
always Allah's hands. But the effort is in our hands.
Right. Yeah. There's this really famous phrase that always comes back to mind where it's like, you do your best and leave everything. You do your best and Allah will do the rest. Right. And subhanAllah, a lot of what you said applies to that phrase. Inshallah, I do kind of want to wrap it because I know you're like on your way home right now. It's really late at night. It's like,
oh yeah, if you don't wrap it up, we'll be talking for the next 3 hours.
It's 10:30, subhanAllah. Yeah. I do want to ask you a question off camera. So we're just kind of wrap up right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on a weekly basis to every single episode. Inshallah, we're going to have more amazing guests, just like Brother Mohamed. We're going to have more scholars, more activists, more, creators on further episodes, and hope you guys, enjoy these episodes because, if it doesn't show on this episode in particular, like I really love doing these and I really hope that you guys love listening to them just as much. Have a nice day, guys.
Invite me back.
Inshallah.